is up and welcome back. As you guys can tell from the title of this video, today is going to be my wrap up, all the books that I read in the month of May. I do have quite a few, but only because I read a boatload of comic books. If you guys saw my mid-month check-in, I actually read a ton of comic books. I sort of used it as a palette cleanser, so the way I'm going to break up this wrap up is I'm not going to actually go in order of what I actually was able to finish. What I'm going to do is list all the comic books and then go through all the books that I was actually able to read. I read a couple of series, I got down on some comic books that I've been really waiting to read, and as you guys can tell, I totally mean business because I have my dinosaur shirt on. This is my absolute favorite shirt. And you guys always ask me where I got it from. I actually got it from the boys section of Marshalls because I'm a 12-year-old prepubescent boy inside of my own head. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this video. I have quite a few books to talk about and I'm really excited to talk about them. The ones that I covered in my mid-month check-in, I'm going to kind of breeze through because you guys kind of already know what I was thinking of them as I did that. But let's go ahead and just get started because, like I said, I have quite a few books to talk about this month. A lot of these were actually borrowed from the library, so I'm going to insert pictures. The first comic book that I actually read was They're Not Like Us. I did give this 4 stars. I really liked it. It's about this X-Men type of group who decides that they're not going to be like the X-Men essentially. They're just going to be raging assholes. They actually fight a lot of people, they steal a lot of things, but there's sort of this underlying reason of, you know, the people that they're stealing from are either abusers, they are child molesters, things like that. This is a very adult rated series. There is sex, there is violence, there is everything that I absolutely love in a comic book in this series. So if you guys are interested at all, I would definitely check this one out. I can't wait to pick up the second one. I need to go to the library. The only thing about this series that I didn't like, the reason why I got 4 stars is a little bit of it was quite redundant. They sort of tried to bring home the same ideas. They were having the same conversations, as well as I absolutely hate the art style. I do not like this type of book. If you guys follow me on Instagram, if you keep up my reading updates on there, you will know that I think that the writing or the drawing sort of look fuzzy. It looks like everything's kind of hairy, if you know what I'm talking about. But so I gave this 4 stars, but I did genuinely still enjoy it. Now the next comic book I read is actually a comic book that I didn't really know I was going to enjoy. I didn't know anything about either of them, and since then I've actually picked up a lot of their single series standalone stuff, and it'd be Lumberjanes and Gotham Academy. This is a story about their teacher goes missing, the Gotham kids. Their teacher goes missing, and they sort of run into the Lumberjanes when they are trying to save her. They know that she goes to this what do you want to call it, like a lodge in the woods, and the lodge in the woods is actually taken back to the 80s. And the story just ties together so beautifully. It's brought together so beautifully. I don't think you need to have either read Lumberjanes or Gotham Academy to enjoy the story, and I genuinely loved it. It was like spoopy and cute, and I am so obsessed with Lumberjanes, you have no idea. And then I did read Shudder's Volume 2, 3, and 4. I gave the second one 4 stars, and then 3 and 4 I gave 5 stars. As you guys know, I am such an uber fan of this series. It is hands down my favorite comic book. Hands down my favorite comic book. I absolutely love it. My husband doesn't understand why I love it so much, but it's so badass and funny, and it's drawn well, and the story is really interesting. It follows our main character. Her dad is a space traveler. He kind of travels between times as well, and then one day he dies and he kind of leaves everything to her, and then she is hunted, and then she finds out that she has a bunch of siblings that she didn't know about, and nothing is what it seems within this series, and I just genuinely love it. If you guys are interested, you should definitely read it. It's once again an adult series. It does have not sex but sexual themes. It does have drugs. It has violence, like uber violence, like very graphic violence, and graphic language, but I'm such a fan and I absolutely love it. And then I did read Sagas Volume 2 and 3, and I gave both of these 5 stars. This series has a very special place in my heart. It is a series that I have discovered because of BookTube, and I love it so much. It is about these 2 people who fall in love, even though they are obviously not supposed to fall in love. They are actually in warring armies, and they have a daughter, and the last 2 of the comics that I actually read were so heartbreaking in so many different ways, and the cliffhanger that the 3rd one left off on, I need to have the 4th one. I've actually already requested it from the library. I am just so in love with this series. If you guys have been seeing Saga floating around, you didn't know whether or not you should read it, you should. It has a lot of different ideas in it that I feel like can really apply to the recent days, and I think that's why I love some of these series so much, is because I feel like I can get a lot of ideas from them, and Saga is definitely one of those series that you can do that with. And then I read Nimona. This was very hit or miss for me. I wanted to love Nimona because I've heard such good things about it, but I actually find it quite boring. I didn't find Nimona as interesting as I wanted to. She is like a shapeshifter, and she does work with a man who's considered like the villain of their time. And I started noticing that even though she was trying to help him and, you know, make him this great villain, I felt more drawn to him. I like the idea of who's bad and who's actually good kind of thing, but I wasn't the biggest fan of this. I did give it 3 stars, so I did enjoy it, but it wasn't the best comic book that I read this month. And then of course, I read Rat Queens Volume 2. I finally went up and actually picked this book up from the store. I don't know where it is though. I think somebody else is borrowing it from me, but I love this story. I love this series. I love that it has uber sex, violence, graphic language, drug use. It is everything that I want. And it is everything that I would like from a D&D campaign, which is what this series is based on. So if you're interested at all in D&D, if that's something that kind of sparks your fancy, I think you guys should definitely check out this as well. Alright, now I'm going to get into the actual physical books that I read. The first one I'm going to start out with is quite small. I think it's about 90 pages. It's by Stephen Graham Jones and is Mapping the Interior. Sam actually sent this to me. I really like this this book. This is about a boy who sees his dead father. They live off of the reservation. They're an Indian family, but he starts to see his dad in his home, and a lot of really weird things start happening. I really like this series as somebody who grew up in Alaska. If you guys didn't see my mid-month, I think I talked about it there. As somebody who grew up in Alaska, I know how oppressed Indian people are. Obviously, they are Native Alaskan people, but you can definitely see, as somebody who, my stepdad was born and raised there, but obviously my mom and my family were not. I didn't move there until I was about 2. So I kind of saw, like, a lot of my friends who were Native Alaskan, like my best friend Megan, she is Native Alaskan, and her entire family, like just seeing all of my friends and their family and how they were treated. I think that this is very, very accurate. I think that the drug addiction, the alcohol addiction, the gambling, things like that is very prevalent in their world as well, in their society. So I think this was very accurate. The only thing I didn't like about this book is the ending. I found it quite confusing. I like that his little brother is also special needs. I believe, in my mind, I think he's sort of autistic, but he does also have seizures, and you kind of think along when you're reading the book that it is his father that is causing this. So the book was a little bit confusing. I've heard that this author, however, is amazing, so I'm actually excited to pick up other things from Stephen Graham Jones, but that is what I thought of this one. I did end up giving it, what did I give it? I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars, just because I didn't genuinely love the ending of this book. This next series, you guys, I loved it. I was so thankful that Penguin Teen sent this to me. You guys know which one I'm talking about. This book has been all over Instagram, Bookstagram. They were doing like a campaign for it, and for good friggin' reason. And it is An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. I have fallen head over heels in love with this series, with these characters. It is so good. I love the blend of kind of like Greek and Arab and magic, and it's just so good. There's like jinn and demons and things like that in it. It actually follows our main characters, Leia and Elias. They are from 2 completely different worlds. Leia is more of the scholar type, people who are trying to keep their culture alive. They're trying to remember by writing things, by trading ideas. And then obviously Elias is a mask, somebody from the community where they don't want those things to continue. He's obviously like a soldier type. And I love the way these stories come together. I love the love in these stories. I love the magic in these stories. I love the heartbreak. And I have to say, Sabaa does not hold back. This is a YA series, but holy shit, when I was reading it, they're like, they do some pretty gruesome things in here. Children are murdered, there is rape, there is assault. If you're not, like, if you're easily triggered by things like that, I would definitely avoid this. This is a very, very hard series to stomach at times, but I love this series. I cannot talk enough good things about it. I'm actually going to meet Sabaa with Morgie Reads in June, and I am just so pumped, you guys. I am head over heels in love with this, and I can't wait for the 3rd one, although I can kind of wait for the 3rd one because I'm really nervous about how it's going to end. I have to say A Torch Against the Night was my favorite of the 2 of them. I loved the ending. I love that you kind of learn who has what powers, more on that, and it was just, it's so good. Like, you have to read it. I'm not just saying that because these were sent to me. I absolutely inhaled these books, and they're so wonderful, and I love them so, so much. The next book that I'm going to talk about is a book that you guys may have seen my vlog on. I don't actually have it anymore because it's in a box somewhere, because I'm actually giving it away, and it would be A Court of Frost and Starlight. I am going to be continuing with the series because I'm just genuinely excited to see. I believe that the story is from Nesta's point of view moving forward, which is kind of interesting to me because I've always hated Nesta as a character, but I'm excited to actually enjoy her part of things. I gave this book 2 stars. If you guys want the full review on it, you can watch my vlog or even check out my Goodreads. I just was not a fan of this book. I feel like it was fluff. It was a lot of things that we didn't necessarily need. There were certain points in it that I genuinely liked. I do like Cassian's point of view. I genuinely like the interactions between Nesta and Amryn. I liked a little bit of backstory we got on Moore. I like that Feyre was able to, she decides to give back to the community in a way that I think was a very, very important thing to be addressed in this book, but I just really didn't like it. I don't think that it was a book that needed to be written. It was written a lot like a fan fiction. It was written like it was really rushed, that Sarah just wanted to write it before she had her baby to appease, you know, her readers. I think you could skip this book. I think you could honestly go into the next series without ever having read this book. I think that it was completely pointless. And the next book we have here is our Hypernaut book. I'm not going to get too far in depth because you guys have already seen the wrap-up for that, but that would be The Cruel Prince. I gave this 3 stars. I don't know what's all over the cover of my book. I haven't been able to get it out, but I don't even really care because I wasn't as in love with this book as I wanted to be. I do like that it is about, you know, 3 mortal girls, well, 2.5 mortal girls who go to the Fey lands and they kind of try to find their places in it. The issues that I had with this was inconsistent characters and as well as not a whole lot of character development. People try to argue with me that there's character development in this book, and there is 100% not. I think that the character development, what little there is still quite lacking. I want more information about all of these people. I wanted to know why Jude does the thing that she does. I want to know why Taryn decides to kind of betray her. I want to know why, what's her other sister's name? See, that's how little character development there is in this book. I just didn't care about anybody and anything in this book. The only thing that I really liked is the setting of it, and then I sort of like the romance. I really like Carden, and I think that's why I'm going to continue with the series, because I really want to know what happens to him. I like the broken bad boys who are actually kind of little soft panda bears, and I'm really excited to read the second one just for that point. But this one I gave 3 stars, so still a book I would recommend if you are looking for just like a really easy read with a little bit of fae, a little bit of magic. As long as you don't really need character development, as long as you really don't need a great plot. This is not a plot that is, I think, that revolutionary, but it was still an easy read. It was fun to read, and I mean, I liked it. I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to. Like, everybody else really loves this book, and I was kind of bored. The only thing that I genuinely am really hyped about this book is the cover. The cover is stunning, but, you know, honestly, like, that's like 9/10 of my problem is the cover is really pretty and I really want to love it, but do I keep it because I didn't really like it, or what would you guys do? Would you donate this? Is a 3-star read worth donating? Let me know. And then I have my 5-star read of the month, and that would be Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. If you guys saw, I did my try a chapter tag. I had actually seen this movie before I read the book, and I have to say that even having done it that way, this was still amazing. This was an amazing, amazing book. I think that Becky Albertalli does a great job of describing what it is like for a gay teenager trying to come out of the closet. Now, the only thing about this is Simon's family and his friends would have been so supportive from the very beginning, and I feel like that's maybe a little bit unrealistic. I know that this is more of a fluffier read, but I like the story being told from this perspective. I like that it was easy. It was like a heartfelt, it's definitely a summer read, if that makes any sense. It's definitely a summer contemporary. I really, really like this book. I'm not going to go too in depth because obviously a lot of people have already read this or seen the movie. Now, I have a question for you guys. Leah on the Offbeat, is it worth picking up? Because I hate Leah. I do not like her as a character. I hate her. But everyone keeps telling me now I need to read Leah, and one of my best friends gave it 5 stars. So somebody please tell me in the comments if I need to pick up Leah on the Offbeat, why you think I'd like it, why you think I wouldn't like it. Let me know. And the next book I actually read is Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee. I gave this 4 stars. It follows our main character, Jess. I really liked this story because Jess is born into a world where there are superheroes and villains, and Jess has no power of her own, and it is her just kind of trying to figure out herself, as well as she has a crush on this adorable girl named Abby, and the budding romance in this and the storyline. I like the setting. It's like a contemporary, but in like a different kind of world contemporary, if that makes sense. Like I said, there's superheroes. A lot of this book was quite predictable. This is a teen book, but I genuinely loved it. I thought that it was done so well. I loved all of the representation. It was just such a good series. I don't know if I've spoken about it before on my channel or not. I may have. I just genuinely love this book. You should definitely pick it up. And then to finish it off, I actually read Not Your Villain by C.B. Lee. This follows Jess's best friend Bells, who is transgender. And the thing that I love about this series so much, if you guys want more detail, I actually have a full vlog up about this book, but like I said, Bells is transgender. A lot more people have superpowers in this one. You get to get more of the world. You get to learn more about the like heroes versus villains side of things. You get to learn more about their parents. They use like she, they, them, their, he kind of pronouns in this book. They like ask people their pronouns. It was just so, so good. I loved all of the representation in these books, and like I said, it was once again quite predictable, but it's becoming less and less predictable the more that I read. But I just genuinely love this. I love that all the kids come together and kind of make like a super group. I just thought it was so heartwarming and so fun to read and so easy to read. So if you're looking for something like that, you should definitely pick this book up. And the last book I have here is a book that I'm going to be doing a full review on later, so I'm not going to go too in-depth on that, but it'd be Only Human by Sylvain Newell. This is the third book in the Themis Files. I am so sad it's over, but at the end of it, he kind of talks about, like in the dedication, that it might not be over, so I'm really excited to get more from this series. Like, me and Bex are both like freaking out, like, yes, there's gonna be more. I love this series. I cannot say enough good things about it. It is just done so well, so interestingly. There are so many thoughts and feelings and opinions in this book. They cover racism, they cover the human inability to accept our faults and how that kind of affects our society and our future. It was just done so, so well, and I'm impressed that this story came from his son's toy robots. That's what this came from. It was a story that he told his son, and I think that's so beautiful, and I absolutely love this series, and you should definitely read it. Alright guys, so that is it for all of the books that I read in May, all of the comic books, all of the novels that I read. I don't know how many books that actually is, but it's quite a few. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing, but I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!